Hello everybody, welcome to Monday Morning Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfeld, and last week we saw right at the tail end of the week a consumer price index number which came out slightly better than expected. Not dramatically, but slightly better than expected. And all of a sudden we saw huge moves up in the equity market indexes as the market is anticipating maybe that the Fed's going to scale back a little bit on their interest rate rises. So let's start things off there because last week we had the consumer price index. This week, we've got another big one for you, and that's going to be the producer price index numbers. Let's talk about U.S. inflation. So here is the chart of the producer price index numbers. That's going to happen Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can see the previous one was slightly higher than expected, which is not a good thing. We kind of want to see those numbers decline if in fact inflation is under control. But because of what we saw with CPI, expectations are now that we're going to see the PPI number as well come out much lower than expected, and that could have a dramatic reaction with the equity markets going forward. Now, this week isn't just about inflation. Of course, Jerome Powell has made that his talking point. He's always pounding the table on that inflation. But he also talked about consumers. He talked about retail spending. He talked about the consumption that's going on in the country is still rather good. Well, is it? This week we'll also get some insights into that with not only the earnings, which we'll talk about here in just a second, but also looking at some of the retail sales data going forward. So let's start there with retail sales. Now, that number is expected to happen Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And as you noticed, it was kind of this tidal wave up and down of retail sales numbers. And now, right now, sitting at 0.0. So really no change month over month with the expectations with retail sales. Now, we don't know which way this one's going to go, but if in fact Jerome Powell is right and we are seeing strong demand on the part of the consumer, we should see retail sales numbers start to move up a little bit. Now, of course, this is that catch-22, right? More spending means the prices are driven up. Less spending means prices may go down. So we'll have our eye on that one coming out on Wednesday. But more importantly are the individual companies, which could create some real opportunity this week. So let's look at our earnings calendar. There's 585 companies reporting this week. Now, that's 1/3 of what we saw last week. On Monday, it's going to be rather quiet. You have Tyson Foods. On Tuesday, some of the bigger names, Walmart, Home Depot, Advanced Auto Parts, and BHP. On Wednesday, Nvidia, Cisco, Target, Lowe's, TJ Maxx. Thursday brings us more retailers, Alibaba, Applied Materials, Macy's, Palo Alto Networks, Kohl's, Ross Stores, and The Gap. And on Friday, even more retailers. You've got JD.com, Foot Locker, and The Buckle. That rounds out quite a number of major earnings announcements there. And now, of course, each of these could impact those retail sales numbers. Now, the interesting part is retail sales comes out on Wednesday, and some of these earnings are going to come out after that. What we'll do is get a good sense this week as to how the earnings announcements for retailers and the consumption is looking like here in the United States, which could impact the Fed's decision at the December 14th FOMC meeting, which of course all eyes right now are on that. Expectations have gone from maybe 75 basis point increase in December. Now it's dropped to 50. If we start to see more good economic data, maybe we get down to 25 basis points. That, my friends, is your Monday Morning Must Knows. We'll see you next week.